which that will set the grass alight. The increasing multicultural society, toxic feminism, money issues. Those things lead to food shortages. I said, I had a vision or insight, it will be the women who set the grass alight. I saw a police officer asking a woman to remove a mask. I know this sounds strange, and all I know, the main point is it will be the women. The mask thing I am not sure, but there could be something more there. If something like riots get out of hand due to lockdowns, economy, police brutality resulting in riots and things get out of hand, you will have to have people remove their masks and enforce it to be able to identify who the culprits are. Now you know why they have rushed as fast as they could with their vaccine programs, to make sure this does not happen and get these passports out. The problem is 20% or more of their population will refuse, resulting in major issues. The result in pulling out Europe, as the seer saw, the shops are empty. Money problems follow, if you have money problems and import most of your food. Well, that ticks the box for the next part of the plague of famine in the land, which simply adds more fuel to the fire of riots and an already increasing hostile civil population. Africa heads to Europe is another one of the plagues. Again, after the Boer War, the Russians who supported the Boers had to be taken out. Also, Tsar Nicholas did not bow down to Nathan Rothschilds, who vowed to take revenge and have him removed. Again, we see the Boer War funded by Rothschilds. The front man was Cecil John Rhodes. Rhodes, financed by Rothschild, then creates the Rhodes Scholarship, and we find Rhodes University in Cape Town and a whole host of Rhodes scholars. One of those men just coincidentally happened to be Bill Clinton, who worked with de Klerk and Mandela in handing the country over. De Klerk just so happened to make the largest decision for the nation off the backdrop of President Botha having a stroke. The last time such a major decision involving the nation's future was made in 1919 by Jan Smuts, who just so happened to take over from General Botha, who had a heart attack or suicide. Do you think the two major events in our history which shaped the future all hung on presidents making the biggest decisions or fitting into the bigger picture coming off of replacing presidents who just so happened to have strokes or heart attacks is a coincidence? And do you think it is a coincidence that the George Soros Foundation just so happens to be behind the expropriation of land without compensation, who comes from the London School of Economics set up by Rhodes, and one of his student was John Milton Keynes, founder of social economics, which is one of the main contributes to the monetary issues facing the West, which was a student of Karl Marx, funded again through the Rothschilds, which bankrolled the Russian Revolution, after the Tsar showed support for the Boers. Just after the Russian Revolution, we see them doing their best to make sure communism is injected into Germany again, another partner of the Boers. So Africa heads to Europe after this collapse and the collapse of their countries, which can be traced back to communism, who has its Rothschilds founders finance the Boer War and communism just a mere 10 years apart. It is no coincidence, and it is no coincidence that the plans of the wicked after a century are now going to roll back onto them. What was started in South Africa for the allure and lust of gold comes full circle. So with Africa in chaos due to communism, the Europeans having to abandon their colonies due to World War I and II, communism used to overthrow the Europeans, all funded by the same greedy banks, finds those same hungry masses on the doorsteps a century later. It's not a coincidence, it is God punishing the wicked. Due to the shops closed, the economy implodes, the worst depression hits, the grass catches alight by toxic feminism because they remove Christian values from their society, will result in a British fleet not being able to do anything. This is what the seer said. What nation can fight if it is experiencing civil war and famine? When did this start? What date? March 2020. Why did it start? I warned them, do not remove your laws, you will destroy yourself. I just asked a question now while typing. Why would God tell the seer these things would happen but then reveal to me that I should tell him to not remove their laws? And while asking this, The answer just popped right into my head. Is our God not a merciful God? Did Abraham not plead with God to not destroy Sodom and Gomorrah if he could just save a handful of souls or just one soul? Our God is merciful, He gives us chances, He gives us the opportunity to hear His word. I specifically mentioned and said in the dream, do not remove your laws. If you remove those laws, you will destroy yourself. Why oh why did you remove those laws? I even said to you, those of you who watched the videos, pray for Britain. I saw, when these laws are removed, the seer's words, the scroll opened up and there it was, written in a heavenly language. I could not read it with my earthly eyes, and yet I read it in spirit. It was the scroll, the vision given to the seer. They did not listen, their laws were scrapped. Their shops were closed and they left the Union, and now we can see these events taking place. The sixth plague mentioned by seer, I see Mr. Adrian Snyman left this one out, I will interpret it for you. England's military force will meet the same end as did Pharaoh's horsemen who pursued the Israelites in the Red Sea. Did not the seer say, why, this time there will be more of you and Germany will be there? Are we not Israelites? Yes we are. We on the southern tip of Africa are the Israelites of old, like our European brethren, we are Israelites. Here the seer is talking about the Boer nation in the sixth plague. The seventh and final plague will result from the Rand crashing and what takes place in South Africa when millions upon millions of Africans head to Europe due to events taking place in Africa, with the Turk rolling down, Russia in Central African Republic, and those wars exploding, with the Rand collapsing in South Africa. There is nowhere in Africa to go but Europe. The seer said something remarkable, that when it hits you, it can only be from God. He said all these plagues would happen on one day. They all happened in one day, on the 19th of March 2020. 1 year after I was given the dream vision of the laws being removed, and exactly 8 months after the angel of the Almighty told me in the dream, that our nation, your nation, the white tribe on the southern tip of Africa's chains would come undone. Is it a coincidence our chains come undone at the same time that our plagues arrive? I do not think so. It does not mean we are out of the dark, still a dark times await our nation. I pray for you, pray for the nation. We still have to go through the furnace, this way when the Veldt fires have finished ravaging Africa, when the Rand collapses, and out of all this world chaos, a little shoot of grass begins to grow, and that shoot of grass is the beginning of our amazing Boer Republic. The four colors will fly again, they will fly over a nation, and our republic will touch the equator. They can get you down, they can take your possessions, they can strip you bare, so long as the Almighty God of Israel is by your side, you will come through in the end. Pray for England, for if you cannot pray for her, how do you expect God to answer your prayers? Do not gloat over your enemy, the Almighty says, for he will turn those plagues onto you. Pray for her, children should never have to suffer the sins of their fathers. Let your light shine bright, may the Rand crash for the nation to humble themselves not before manna but before the Almighty who fed Israel in the desert. May the God of Israel feed our nation during this dry and dark spell. I pray for you nation, it seems I was born to pray for you, though we may never meet, you are all in my prayers. I pray the Almighty is with all of you, I pray the Almighty guides the leaders to tend to the flock, and I do not ask for donations or likes, or subscribes. If you found this video of interest, if you found one or two things interesting, all I ask is you pray to Yahweh God of Israel on your knees. Pray for the nation is all I ask. May God raise us up as Lazarus was raised, and may your life be filled with blessings. Stay safe, God bless, see you at the equator one day, bye brothers and sisters.